Hi. What a great innovation talk on the innovation program that Cisco is driving and how Cisco builds a global or uses its global team to innovate together with customers and partners for the greater good of the society, projects like CSR projects and that sort of thing, as well as how we, or what topics are on the longer term roadmap, those incubation things like 5G and Wi-Fi 6. And I'm joined now here in the studio with Guillaume Sauvage de Saint-Marc. Very long name, Guillaume. I hope you have a nickname, because otherwise...
I do have one, GSM. That's
GSM,
how my
I'm okay to call you that? Perfect.
Absolutely.
So we've got the man himself, GSM. Fantastic talk, lots of interesting points, and I guess you're here to give us a little bit more context for both for viewers at home as well as the people that may have already seen your talk. So I guess the first question, you talked a lot in your talk about fostering innovation, about how that's one of the key pillars that Cisco is driving. And how can Cisco customers, I suppose, get involved with that pillar?
Well, thanks, David. That's a great question. First of all, thanks for having me. Super exciting to be here with so many of our partners and customers in Barcelona at Cisco Live. So I mentioned in the talk really that there is not like a single silver bullet in terms of innovation to engage. So we have a range of things really for customers to engage with us. It can start on one side simply with our DevNet team. They organize a lot of hackathons, so it's a way to get hands-on and familiar with our great APIs. Our solutions are more and more programmable, which is really an important trend. And Susie Wee and team are leading this effort. So this is really a good way to get started and understand how a given customer can actually leverage our portfolio of solution and sort of program their own business case and make it like theirs. Other ways to engage, we have a number of, we're present in a number of countries, 14 countries. We have innovation centers all across the globe, and we love to run these co-innovation and design thinking sessions with our customers. So we are usually quite active in the innovation ecosystem across these different countries. So we often meet in one of these events, and from there, we see how much we can help each other. And this can lead to really very significant collaboration. I mentioned in the talk what we're doing with Port of Rotterdam, for instance. So this is and this is just one amongst others. This is really significant co-innovation effort where we really try to work beyond actually just the current portfolio we have and try to incubate in collaboration with customers and partners usually the next big thing for our industry. And this is really co-innovation, right? So we get into even sometimes tricky questions like how do we share IP if we co-invent things, but this is what we're ready to do to push the envelope with our customers.
Absolutely, it's definitely one of my favorite things I think about Cisco is that how we really work shoulder to shoulder with our customers and partners to develop things that solve the big problems, I guess. Obviously, you're a Frenchman, both the name and the accent gave it away.
You can tell.
I can tell. You mentioned in your talk about a partnership with the École Polytechnique. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that and how that's bolstering, I suppose, the innovation agenda in France.
Yeah, and thanks for asking. So this is, in general, collaboration with universities and academia is really important to Cisco for a very simple reason, is that at Cisco we do not have internally a large research lab, such as some of our peers in the industry have. And so for us, collaboration with the universities is not just an option, it's a necessity. So we have research grants and we have a number of programs which we are doing with these guys. But really, for us, it goes well beyond just throwing money over the fence and waiting for having a Cisco plaque on the wall. It's really a really close collaboration. So École Polytechnique is a fantastic example. We're working really closely with these guys. We have the chair for internet technologies and engineering with them, and concretely, we host. We've hosted more than 30 interns from École Polytechnique over the past 4 years. We have 4 PhDs graduating together with École Polytechnique and based in our lab in Paris. And what's really important for us is with such deep academic partnership is this is not only a way for us to source, maybe our, next talents at Cisco, but if these guys doesn't stay with us, but they go and work, with our customers and partners, it's equally important for us, right? So we want to make sure that across the globe, in a country like France, we can train and we can, make sure that the millennial generation of next talents is ready at the best of IT and digital technologies for the future.
Wow, I mean, it sounds like an amazing program. I wish my university had something like that. And sort of changing gears a little bit, I mean, you can't go anywhere at Cisco Live or anywhere really in the industry without hearing cybersecurity. It's such a massive topic for, I think, almost every organization and individual on the planet. Now, you mentioned, I think, in your talk, a term, and I'm going to have to look this up because I've never heard it before, quantum-resistant encryption.
Right.
That sounds like it's very much on the bleeding edge. So explain that for us,
please.
It is.
Yeah. So I'll say a few words about this. So this is a good example of one of the innovation we incubate ahead of the curve. So you mentioned cybersecurity. It's a massive trend across the industry for a very simple reason. There is no digitization without security, right? And there is a lot of security topic at stake for us, for our customers, for the greater good of the industry and honestly society. So one particular domain with another buzzword is quantum computing. So you might have heard about this one. It's much more speculative. It's still in the lab. It's not really unleashed yet in the industry, but it will come sooner or later. And these quantum computing have the property that they might be able to break existing encryptions. And so what we're doing is that we're really working to kind of prevent a sort of a back to the future attack. So we don't want that if quantum computers are available in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that they can come back and attack, some traffic which would have been recorded today. So it's a bit of a sci-fi type of scenario, but it's actually taken very seriously by some of our customers. No surprise, governments, Ministry of Defense, but also, large banks, and customers who really care about the privacy of their customer. And so we've developed solutions, which are, not based on quantum technology, but actually will be able to resist to the what we call the quantum supremacy when quantum computing will be available and might present some risks in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like it's going to be a very interesting topic to watch over the next few years. Now, I know both you personally, as well as Cisco overall, we're very passionate, I suppose, about making sure that our innovations leave a lasting impact for things outside of our immediate circle, I suppose. I saw in your presentation, you talked a lot about the Saving the Rhino project that we've been working on. How did we get involved in that, and what are the next sort of things to come?
Yes, and this is really important. So, as our boss says, can we do something better with the internet than just, watching more advertising or buying more online? And there are really some big problems which we can solve with internet technology. So, species conservation is one of them. We've done a lot, as you know, with the Rhino project and with friends at NTT Dimension Data in South Africa. And we're going to do more. It's not just us. What we're really trying to do, and by the way, with École Polytechnique, we had this a great industry symposium where we actually hosted the community really active on including scientists, startups, large corporates, active on the topic of conservation. And what we are trying to do is really not just bring our own solution, but enable a wider blueprint for the industry of how we can accelerate solving these problems. And we did a lot in Africa. We've started to do a lot of things in India and other geographies. We had a hackathon back in November there, which was very successful. And it's not just on Earth; it's also oceans. And so we are looking into more programs like this in the coming months. So stay tuned. There is more coming.
Absolutely, I'll definitely have to follow that because I think we've got this amazing technology and we're going to try and use our power to help solve those big problems around the world.
And this is a really important way for us also as a large corporation to attract millennial talents, because these guys, for really good reasons, they don't want just to have a job. They want to know what they are doing actually serves a purpose. And for us, tech for good and conscious engineering is really important. And it's actually completely coincides with business. It's not like we are doing this on as a side activity. Actually, our day job is also about this.
Absolutely. And just one final question then for you. I've heard that you might have a new boss in town now, so can you have you heard any insights about how Roland might be shaping the forward direction of the CTO?
Yes, so Roland, has been in charge. Roland Accra used to be our head of data center division, a business group at Cisco, and he's now our CTO, my boss. So it's been only a couple of months, but Roland is ramping up rapidly. And you might have seen already, so I mentioned the École Polytechnique partnership. So he was with us last week in France signing this deal and MOU for the next 5 years. So there is a lot that we have in flight that Roland is going to help us accelerate and land, with the different business group at Cisco and with the wider industry. And watch out for a new agenda on our side, because I know that Roland is really interested, for instance, in how we can get even further in simplifying and making our product, easier to use and even more robust. So there is some CTO work which we can help here. And this is just an example. A lot will happen also on the 5G front and heterogeneous network technologies. And I know Roland will does care about this, and I know he's going to push us even more than before on this front.
Absolutely.
Few thoughts.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your insights. I really appreciate you coming down to the studio and giving us a little bit of your time, packing us into your schedule. I know it's tough. Continuing, I suppose, on one of the topics that you mentioned, which is innovation and co-creation, we'll be heading now into the Innovation Theatre, where Susie Wee is going to be presenting about DevNet, her area of expertise. So stick with us, and we'll be right there in a moment.